There's a story I've heard from that fifth Super Bowl. It's now become almost infamous, the time when Jerry Rice confronted Deion Sanders for missing curfew in the week of the Super Bowl. But I heard you tell this story, and I've never heard it for anywhere else, and I just love for you to share it with some of the fans. Deion wasn't the only guy who missed curfew that night, was he?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. And of course, Deion is from Florida, right? So during the week of the Super Bowl, he had a charity game. He had a charity game, for his foundation, a basketball game. So he didn't play, but he had to be there. But he knew that he needed to be back by 10:15 because that was curfew. Well, since we were there the whole week, if we would have stayed at home, like I mentioned, Monday would have been half day, Tuesday would have been a day off. That's how the normal week was. But because we were there Sunday in Florida, I went up to George and I said, because some of the older guys in the back too, and I was the most senior as far as service to the Niners in my last 5 years, and said, George, is there a way that you can waive the curfew on Tuesday? Because if we were at home, that would be the normal week, and use the excuse that will keep things as normal as possible, And George agreed to it, and he says, but when it comes to Wednesday, so Tuesday, the curfew was at 1:00 in the morning, right? Monday, curfew was at 1, right? And then Wednesday, it went back to 10:15. Well, we came down to the meeting room on Wednesday morning, and George did not look happy. I looked at him, and he just kind of looked at me and looked away, and then. And then as soon as everybody got in the room, and George was just dropping F-bombs, if you're telling me to F me, F you, this game, it's about, your family, but this game will cut your neck in an instant, and which is true, So when George said, I don't give a F what you guys do, but you guys meet on this, all the coaches out. So all the coaches went out. And of course, we heard that Deion was 10 minutes late. But if you look at if you see the hotel that we were in, it was the Hilton. The road going in and out, it was one lane going in. It's like a bunch of coconut trees on a nice road with lights. And, you have to drive in a good quarter of a mile before you can get to the actual hotel, but you're stuck in traffic. I mean, it's the 49ers are staying there. All the fans want to come hang out there. So Deion was stuck in that traffic coming in, but was 10 minutes late. But we know for a fact that he tried to make it back. So Jerry, thinking the same way that I brought up earlier, that Deion came to the Niners because he wanted to be a champion. And you have to fall under the umbrella of what we did, the standard that we set for ourselves. So that's where Jerry was coming from. It was like, oh, so now you're in the Super Bowl. Now you effing think you can do any effing thing, I mean, this is what was going on. Then I found out that Merton Hanks, William Floyd, and somebody didn't make it back to 2 a.m. We're trying to make peace between Jerry and Deion, because Deion said
for 10 minutes.
I was stuck in traffic right out here in the hotel. I sat there for 25 minutes, but I was thinking of coming back, and then somebody said Merton Hanks. So I walk up to Merton. I said, Merton, what the hell? And he goes, yes. He goes, yes. We told Eddie D we needed to come back to the hotel, but he said, nah, don't worry about it. Just have a drinks on me. so, I mean, what do you expect me to say? They're drinking with the owner. At the end of the day, if the owner tells you, don't worry about it, And the scary thing about it is, I think we opened the week 18-point favorites against the Chargers, and then it came down to 14 by game time. But there's a lot of pressure of being the heavy favorites. There's a lot of pressure that goes with it. You have to be careful. Of course, we're undefeated in Super Bowls, and you don't want to be the heavy favorite in the first Niner team to lose it. Yeah. But what happened is that incident, in my eyes, was one of the best things that happened during our week, because it allowed us to refocus on what's going on. Because before that, I mean, Eddie treated us first class. I mean, the meals were nice and hot, uh, uh, so but what happened is it allowed us to go at each other. Hey, we're here on a mission. I know we're 18-point favorites, but it don't mean crap if we lay an egg, and it allowed us to step back and say, okay, we're here on a mission to win the Super Bowl, be the first team to win 5. So looking back on it, it was one of the better things that happened during our week. But yeah, that was a funny story. Merton Hanks said, "Hey man, I was drinking with Eddie."
I just imagined him during that whole team meeting and the whole thing going on between Jerry and Deion and just in the corner.
Yeah.
I hope nobody calls us out. I think it was him and William Floyd. And William Floyd was a rookie.